break. We're going to do a little chalk talk. I love chalk talk because it kind of breaks down different pieces of actual game and where we line up for different things, backing up and stuff like that. So I'm kind of excited to do the chalk talk. We don't get much time when we have a normal practice to go through kind of this stuff like this. So here's our opportunity. So let's start with a right-handed batter. So we'll draw that in real quick here. Now, how we adjust is a little bit different for each age group, obviously. But for most age groups, when we have a right-handed batter, we usually have that third baseman play a little bit back. Obviously, depending on how well the hitters are, how good the hitters are, we may have to adjust from hitter to hitter as well. But typically, a third baseman plays a little bit behind third base. Now, with the right-handed batter here, our shortstop's going to shift over just a little bit towards that third base. Second baseman's going to shift a little bit more towards the middle. First base typically plays even with the bag or slightly in front, depending on our normal, obviously, pitcher, catcher here, and we adjust accordingly. Now, left fielder typically is going to play a little bit more pull. So a little bit more towards the line. Center fielder, if you look from home through the pitcher through second base, we're going to play a little bit to the pull side of the hitter. So center field's over here. And then right field, you're going to stay a little bit more shallow over here. And then to be ready to do a lot of things on that right side. So right fielder typically play a little bit more shallow. Center field, left field play a little bit more pull side. So a little bit more open gap right in here between center field and right field. That's okay. A couple important things to adjust when we have a left-handed hitter. So instead of having a right-handed hitter, now we have a lefty. Lefty's on this side over here. Now the first baseman may play back a little bit. And this is assuming when there's nobody on base as of right now. Now that second baseman's probably going to play a little more pull typically, so a little bit more towards first base. Shortstop will play a little bit more towards the middle. Just a slight adjustment. Third base is probably going to move up a little bit. Even with the base or slightly in front, especially against a lefty, they may bunt. We're going to be ready to charge that ball on someone that bunts it right there as well. Left fielder will play up a little bit. So left fielder will kind of shift up, play a little bit more shallow. Center fielder will typically play to the other side of second base. A little bit closer to the right field. And obviously, the right fielder needs to shift a little bit more to the line here as well. So there's our right fielder. That's our basic lineup for any hitter, lefty or righty. So, and there'll be changes in the game. There'll be different changes throughout the game where we'll know hitters are always behind or they're always early or other adjustments. And that's something we got to do every single pitch is really read what the hitter's doing. Is he late? Is he early? How do we adjust that? If we know he's really early on most of the pitches, we want to make sure we shift it to the early side, which is pull side. So if it's a lefty up, if he's really pulling hard, everybody should shift a little bit that way. Shortstop will shift a little bit that way. Second base, first baseman will probably stay put. Right fielder may shift a little bit. Third base may shift a little bit. We can all shift if the hitter is really ahead of everything and pulling that ball to the right side. And that's the same for a right-handed hitter that's hitting the ball that way a lot. We're going to shift a little bit that way every single time as well. So every single play, when there's nobody on base, there's a couple really important jobs we've got to make sure we focus on as our defense. So number one, big job. Make sure we field the ball. Get the ball first. If we don't get the ball, we got to make sure we cover our responsibilities. If the ball goes this way, let's just make a dash line for a ball moving. The ball goes this way, whether it's to the second baseman or first base, they're going for the ball, second base or first base. Unless they know first baseman knows he's going to get to that ball, then he just retreats and covers and ready for the throw. Okay, shortstop should automatically move that direction and cover second base. Third base will make an initial movement towards there, but then come right away back to third base and cover third base. And then obviously center fielder collapse for the ball, and right fielders collapse that ball originally if they know it's not going to be through. But right fielder knows it's through. Hopefully the center fielder can back that up, and then right away that right fielder comes over here and backs that up. So initial move for the right fielder is to make sure the ball, if it gets through, they got to get the ball first. But if it doesn't, if for a second baseman gets the ball, or shortstop or third base, they're always rolling to that. And we're lining up according to a third base is throwing it, we should line up right here. So line up third base to first base. That's where it should line up. Make sure they have plenty of space to back it up, though. Shortstop, they should line up more. Second base to first base, they'll line up more right here. It really depends on the line right here. And then obviously if it's coming from second base, we're going to try to swing around as far as we can to back that up, because the ball is going to be probably thrown at this angle. Tough to get to that, so we got to really swing according to where the throw is going to be. Plenty of space. Make sure you back way up, because we don't want to go past just the first base and then you. We want to make sure only if the first baseman does miss it, they're the only person that's going to miss the ball, and the right fielder is ready to back that ball up. Okay, another big one that we don't talk about a lot, and I don't see a lot from a lot of teams. This is another awesome one that will really help your team save a lot of bases as well. With the right fielder backing that up, with nobody on base and someone running to first base, that catcher can make a huge difference. They can get all those angles that the right fielder can't quite get to. So if it is coming from the second base, that ball's going this way, we have that catcher to run down that line and back that play up right here. That catcher can be such a huge play by running down that first baseline, getting wide, getting deep, and make sure if that ball does get past first base, they're right there behind them and finishing it off. But obviously give yourself some space between, because if they do miss it, we're ready to move in either direction. So line up from where that throw is. So catcher hustling down after the ball's hit with nobody on, the ball's put in play. Catcher's hustling all the way over and backing that up. That's a big play. All right. That's a couple of things that we want to cover for our chalk talk for today. Right fielders being very big into backing up all plays to first base, and then making sure that we're covering bases. Remember, too, if it goes this way, I didn't really mention that one. That second baseman will shift here. Shortstop goes the ball. Third base goes the ball. If they don't get it, they go back to their base. And that first baseman always covers here. Oh, I lost the first base. First baseman will always go and cover that. And as well as pitcher and catcher trying to bounce any of those short ones as well. So always rotate towards the ball, and whoever's going that way covers the base. If you're going to the ball, keep going to the ball. Back each other up. All right, that's our chalk talk, guys. Make sure you take a look, review that. Tomorrow, watch the video again to kind of talk you through each one of those situations we talked about today, and we'll keep moving on from there from chalk talk. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video.